All right. Hey.
Hey,
Welcome to the Brian and Kristen podcast. I'm Brian,
and I'm Kristen.
and we got our guest appearance here. And
Bestie.
okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So, how you doing, Kristen?
Good. Nothing too terribly interesting going on right now, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm just world from all the traveling, man. I've been just trying to keep myself a go. And I forgot to make the announcement. We are a brother and sister podcast team. And sometimes
We
we have
got
special guests
so
like my
carried
little
away with
buddy here.
Bestie that
Yeah, my dog. So so that's what now I just came back from visiting you. I was out there in Florida and had a great time. And we got on the conversation of what we would like to talk about this week for the podcast. Is man, he really licking me. For those listening, my dog is licking me in the face, and
you let him lick your face like that.
yeah, I don't know why. I've literally seen him eat cat vomit, but
Oh, that's
I
just
don't know why it doesn't bother me, but I should not let him do
oh my God.
that.
All right.
That shows you how much you love dogs, because if I saw me and Moore eat cat vomit, I would not let her lick my face. But
That's
the
gross.
dog gets away with it. Um, so we're going to go into today. I wanted to talk about the wrestling legend, my mentor, a guy that I really loved was Doug Blueball. Remember Coach Doug Blueball, Kristen?
I do. Former Olympic. Well, I guess he wasn't former. He was always an Olympian once he was an
Yeah.
Olympian.
Yeah, he was an Olympic gold medal winner. And we're going to show, let me put this picture up here. Let's see. Hopefully it works. There we go. That is the video. That is Doug Blueball right there. That video of him pinning the Iranian. That is one of the most famous posters for wrestlers that has ever been. It's called the Epic Struggle. And it was an amazing match because Doug was on his back and he miraculously got off his back and got this guy on his back and pinned him. And look at Doug's muscles. Can you see that right there?
Yeah, that is
I
not how
mean,
he was
was
when I met him.
well, he didn't look like that when you met, because by the time you met Doug Blueball, he must have been in his 60s or so. Now, he still had a crazy good grip on him, and but he was just um, 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 he was just shredded up back then. And you know what his advice was for running? Did I ever tell you what his advice for running was?
No.
He said, "Run as far as you can run, and then run back."
I feel like I'd be a little afraid to take that advice.
Well, I have a feeling old Doug was running marathons just for not even knowing he's running a marathon if he was taking his own advice. And
Yeah, really. I'd make sure
and
to have my phone so I could Uber back.
run as far as you can. Yeah, nowadays run as far as you can run and take an Uber back.
Yeah.
I'm using that one, Chris. That's a good line. You can see that in the comedy show. But yeah, he was really quite a cool guy. The first time I met him was at in Troy at Coach DeHart's wrestling clinic, and I had a T-shirt from the sectional wrestling tournament that said, "The road to success is always under construction." And Doug was there as the special guest coach. And I always remember he'd come up to me and pat me on the back and say, "I really like that shirt." And ever since then, I liked him. And then that kind of just broke the ice with Doug and I. And then, of course, our dad became good friends with Doug. So that helped. And do you have any memories of Doug coming over or anything?
I do. I remember when we had the wrestling mat down in the living room and Doug would wrestle, like you guys would wrestle right in the middle, not the living room, our family room, and move the furniture out of the way so you could wrestle. And then we had the fireplace with all the bricks. I always thought somebody was gonna knock themselves out. I'm not sure that was a good idea.
Yeah, it's amazing. We never got hurt. Nobody got hurt. And Doug would come and literally we'd roll out the wrestling mat and just put it in the middle of the family room. Furniture moved. Doug would come in there and give a clinic, and it was me and a couple other guys, and he would just, and his main move was the front headlock, and
Oh my God, it sounds dangerous.
it sounds dangerous. Anyway, and he teach you, and to this day I can still remember because in one of the summers I went to his wrestling camp, and he said on the first day of camp, he said, "I'm gonna get in your head so good. When you go to bed at night, the last thing you're going to hear is my voice telling you how to run the front headlock." I don't know how many years ago that was, but sometimes when I go to bed, I still hear, "Grab the elbow, right at the tip of the elbow. You want to make him feel uncomfortable. Remember, boys, wrestling is a street fight with rules."
Oh my gosh.
It's a street fight with rules. So I don't remember what year it was, but one of the years, I don't know if it was my junior to senior year or my senior year, whenever I got my license back from being suspended,
What was it suspended for?
I had this is interesting. I had 3 speeding tickets in 1 year. And Dad said, I went to court, and our dad was a lawyer, and he said, "Yeah, they're suspending your license for a year. That's the rule. If you get 3 speeding tickets under the age of 18, you get your license suspended for a year." Well, my buddy Pat Hughes also had 3 speeding tickets, but he hired Dad to be his lawyer, and he went to court one day, came back from court, he had his license back. He said, "Well, your dad told me not to tell you got my license back, but you see my car, I got my license back."
I guess you get what you pay for.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess Dad was teaching me a lesson or something, but
Yeah, that was a good one. Gosh, I didn't
yeah,
know that story. I
yeah,
mean, I remember that that you had those tickets, but I didn't realize that Pat Hughes had the same. Maybe I did that happened to him, but that's pretty funny.
yeah. Yeah, you probably remember when it happened, but I remember coming back to school. "You got your license?" "Yeah, your dad got me out of it." "Well, he didn't get me out of it."
That's funny. He probably thought it'd do you good not to drive for a year.
Yeah, he was right. He might have saved me. So, but when I did get my license back, I had the opportunity to take yeah, here we go, Pamela. Just saw Bestie right there. And and when I finally did get my license back, I got the chance I'm gonna put Doug's picture back up there for those of you who are tuning on now. That's our wrestling mentor, Doug Blueball, Olympic champion,
Well,
1960.
I wouldn't say our wrestling mentor, your wrestling mentor.
Okay. Okay, my
I'll
wrestling
do
mentor.
That's very clear. I never wrestled with Doug.
Yeah, but you got to see what he was doing. You
Yeah,
got
I
to
did.
see how crazy he was.
But
and,
you know the things
and
one of the things I remember the most about him was that he had narcolepsy. Like he'd just fall asleep. He'd be sitting there and like just fall right asleep when you're, I don't know, even at dinner or talking to him. It's crazy.
well, yeah, so that's why he had 2 things. He had narcolepsy and epilepsy. I think those were the
Oh,
2 things he had. And one of them, he would just fall asleep, and the other one, if he laughed, he would fall asleep. He would like fall asleep on the spot, like just be out, boom. So we would always try to get him laughing real hard, and
this wasn't very nice.
I know, but then some, I think one of the times this one kid ripped a fart pretty bad, and all the kids are just busting up. And Doug, he's trying not, and then all of a sudden Doug starts laughing, and then he goes out like that, and then he comes back and he's just normal.
Oh my god.
and and uh, and so yeah, that was kind of what he had to go through, and so he needed a driver because he would go to all these camps and all over, and I got to be his driver for a summer or so, and I got to go to Penn State University, Indiana University, and we went to all these places. And Doug would bring his gold medal with him. so he would we would drive in like a little Honda or something like that. And Doug would take his uh, gold medal and he would just put it in the back seat
Oh
and
my god.
lock the car. And then we'd walk into McDonald's or, Kentucky Fried Chicken, wherever. He didn't really eat that healthy. He's always like, he was kind of like a comic, just going from place to place, like a comedian would, just from town to town, showing wrestling moves, whether it be in somebody's living room, like at our house, or, Penn State University or Indiana. I mean, he went to all the colleges and all the high schools that he could, he was like constantly on tour. And then he would bring the gold medal out, and he was always kind of talking to me about his financials. And I'll never forget, he said, I said, he was talking about being broke, right? I said, yeah, but you got a gold medal. And he said to me, you can't eat a gold medal.
Wow. I wonder what happened to it when he passed away.
I don't know. I wish, because I think I had met like a son of his, and I definitely had met his wife several times, but I think he might have been married a couple times or so. So I don't know, because then when I went to California, that was before kind of social media and cell phones, and Doug was the type of guy that wouldn't have had either one anyhow.
Right.
So I would.
Didn't you just like drive over, be like, oh, I was in the neighborhood, and just stop over? Like, and he lived hours away.
Well, whenever he would be anywhere close, he would come our way. So he might be coaching somewhere like in Indiana or Dayton or somewhere. And if it wasn't too far, he'd come by, because he and Dad became pretty good friends.
Hmm.
They like to talk.
Because they were about the same age.
They were the same age. So they were kind of both older guys, and, just kind of, for whatever reason, so he liked coming here, and then he would, of course, like to.
That makes sense though, because Dad boxed and he wrestled, so they had that in common too, about being athletes. So that, yeah, about the same age. So yeah, that totally makes sense. I didn't put all that together until right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, because Dad boxed, Doug wrestled, and they had so they kind of, and I think he just would, this was a fun place for him to come, and he always knew that if he came too, I could make some phone calls and we could get a little wrestling practice going.
That's funny.
So, but yeah, that's kind of like an interesting, and then I was wondering what happened to Doug, because the years kind of, once I left Ohio, the years kind of going on top of each other. And, but yeah, he ended up passing away on a motorcycle.
Oh my God. Like he wasn't in an accident. He just died on the motorcycle.
No, I think somebody hit his motorcycle. Wow. Somebody hit him on the motorcycle. Now here he was at like 77 years old, still riding a motorcycle. I mean, this guy was the baddest dude ever. I mean, I love this guy so much. He was a hero, man. I loved him. He was still on a motorcycle, age 77, with narcolepsy, with epilepsy.
I mean, I'm surprised he didn't just fall asleep on it and that was it, but he got hit. That is crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know the exact details, but it sounds kind of suspicious, But and so, I would have loved to have gotten to see that guy one more time, because I really loved, Coach Blue Ball. And he always would call himself Blue Nuts, Coach Blue Nuts. And he goes, when you go back to your high school, you let them know that this is how Coach Blue Nuts showed you to do the move.
He was a character.
he was a character. And then when I Googled what had happened to him, there was this big news article, and it said that on the title said, former Olympic gold medalist, died in motorcycle wreck. And then I started reading the comments, and people in the comments are always funny, right? So somebody writes, well, he's not a former gold medalist. He is a gold medalist. He's still a gold medalist. He still had the gold medal that he kept in his car, which I would love to see. Because not only was he a gold medalist, he was also that year's most valuable wrestler. So he was like the Heisman Trophy winner of the Olympics, basically, or whatever. And so then somebody else wrote, well, when my mom died, nobody wrote a newspaper article about her. And then somebody below that wrote, yeah, but was your mom a former Olympic gold medalist? And I'm like, even from the grave, Doug's bringing up humor, man. This guy.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So Coach Blueball was one of a kind, dude. One of a kind. So we were talking about him the other day at your place a little bit, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because I have his poster right there on my wall, and
And in all
I
these
really.
years, I never realized that that was him on that poster.
Oh, you didn't realize that was him on the poster?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he looks a lot different. Here, let's bring it up one more time.
Yeah, my frame of reference from
I know. I wish we had a picture of what he looked like when he was in his 60s, because it wasn't. He had that stomach on him, but his stomach was like a rock. He was rock hard, like all the kids used to say. And I got to feel every day because he would use me as the practice guy, right? He would use me to show the moves on. So all the other kids were like, man, does that hurt? I was, yeah, it hurts, dude. Because Doug was strong, man. Even when his old age, he had this grip, and he would take your neck, and your hand would be like this, and he would show the move. And but I guess that was the summer before my senior year, because that's the move that I used to score a bunch of takedowns with during that final tournament. And everybody knew by that point I had a reputation with my front headlock. It was all from Doug. So yeah, so that's our story about the time we got to hang out with an Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, not a former Olympic gold medalist, like I said in the beginning.
Yeah, it was he was a champion and always will be a champion. And I wish some people could live forever, because that guy he did a lot of great things for a lot of people. And it was cool. Just like I got excited when he would come to the house and show moves. Like, we'd go into all these different towns and people would be so excited, and he loved showing his gold medal. And even though he said you can't eat a gold medal, I know that he would starve to keep that gold medal.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
yeah. So but that's our story that's our Doug Blueball, Olympic champion of 1960, one of the greatest wrestlers to ever walk the face of the earth. I mean, look at those muscles on that guy. What a beast. So that's it. So I think that'll wrap us up for today. What do you think, Kristen?
well, that was learn something new again.
Yeah. Well,
Every time you do these, I'm like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least you got something to, for the next time you're training for your marathon and half marathon, just take Doug's advice, run as far as you can, run back, or take an Uber.
I'll be taking an Uber, I promise that.
I just wonder how far this guy used to run. Huh?
Yeah, if I ran as far as I could go, there's no way I could run back.
I believe that guy would do it. I believe he did it. I believe he ran as far as he could run, and he was probably out in Oklahoma, probably in the country. This guy probably ran 2 marathons in a day. He probably ran just 26 miles one way and then came back the rest of the way. He didn't have anything to do. And back then, look at this. There was no steroids. This guy wasn't on steroids. He was just baling hay. He was just working on the farm in Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyways, I could probably go on for another 2 hours. I love that guy so much, but we'll call that a wrap, and we will see you on the next one.
All right. Bye.
Bye. See ya. Thank you.